Just thinking about polyrhythm. There's a, kind of a typical conception of polyrhythm being something that can be identified as a fraction. 2 over 3, 5 over 7, or some weird shit. But the one that, of course, the one that people typically start with is 2 over 3 or 3 over 2, whatever. So you have like, what's the answer I feel like using? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? But I don't really conceive that as polyrhythm because that is still linear. That can still be mapped out in a straight line. So if you have da 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 that's a straight line. Da 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 da. And so that's not really polyrhythmic to me. That's that's how I'll say it. It's not polyrhythmic to me. It's just I don't know. It's a rhythm. But to me, polyrhythmic it means that you really have two or more just independent time feelings. So what you would see mostly on the internet is people who have taken that concept, something like 2 over 3, and then maybe they've expanded it into trickier numbers. And myself included, for some stupid reason, I was thinking recently about I had said 3 over 5 or 5 over 3, and I just did the math. So you map out 15. 5 times 3. You map out 15, dots, and then you just on the top just divide that by 3, and on the bottom you divide it by 5, and then you get this. Let's see if I can remember it. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. But you see how stiff that sounds. It sounds so stiff because in my head I'm still thinking linearly. And like one part of my brain is just going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the other part of my brain is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I get this linear thing. So, it's there's more than one way to skin a cat. One would be just to practice for like a gazillion hours a day. If you do that, my hat's off to you. And then you can probably take something like that and really move with it. Really get very loose with it. And if you do, my hat's off to you. But I don't like practice a gazillion hours a day. So what I like to do to get a polyrhythmic, at least in a polyrhythmic attitude, because honestly, who cares if I can do math problems? I just want to get into the polyrhythmic attitude. So like what I try to get into a mentality of I just kind of have a loose mentality of thinking like let me just do something with my foot that has nothing to do with what I'm doing with the other foot. Or it's just sort of a loose mentality of like, do something that's just other than what the other body parts are doing, you know? And then I kind of just sort of see what happens. I don't know, like, let's see what happens. You know, I can't just, you know, the typical online video maker, you know, practices this shit for like a gazillion hours, and then they're going to come on and show it to you perfectly. And if they don't get it perfect, they're going to edit the video and they're going to show it to you perfect. But, you know, I'm showing you the real deal. I haven't prepared any of this. And so it's the real process of just saying, like, can I get into this attitude of like doing something different on one thing? So, you know, map that out on a line. I don't know what you're going to get. I have no idea if you're going to find that there was a metronomic beat in there somewhere. I felt like there was. But it's also very possible that my metronomic beat that I was somehow feeling inside did not stay strict like clock time. But I say, who gives a flying fuck? You know, it felt to me like there was an internal metronome going on. Now, of course, you know, this is something quite different than trying to be, you know, like in a rhythm section and serving as an accompaniment, you know. That's just a different, you know, I respect that, you know, tremendously, and in the right context, I do that. But what I'm cursing about is this idea that there's some universal law that what we do in music is required to lay over a clockwork kind of metronomic pulse. Now, again, let me say, I do feel a pulse, but it stretches. You know, it's short, long. It stretches itself out, and I don't regulate it in a strict way. And you know, if I play with other people, I listen. You know, I'm listening to where the group's pulse is. You know, and I'm not ignoring that by any means. You know, but you know, I can't tell you was anything I just did, is that like, you know, 11 over 16 or what the hell ever. Again, who gives a flying fuck, honestly. I don't see that as being somehow a requirement. You know, I just want to feel the different, wings of my body moving independently of each other, and not as a circus trick, but because there are clearly, and I'm not a doctor of this kind of stuff, but there are clearly multiple electric, rhythms happening in the body. I'm not trying to, either sound scientific nor esoteric. To me, it just sounds or seems to be self-evident. Self-evident that in the body there are multiple pulses moving, and that all of them stretch and compress in time in reaction to our, just in reaction to being alive. And I just want to allow my body parts to work some of that stuff out, in an acoustic environment, in a physical, moving, acoustic environment. And that to me, maybe it's not the only form of polyrhythm, but for me, this is a type of polyrhythmic attitude that I really enjoy, and it has a very healing effect.